pan-africanism.
Dr.Umar Ifatunde, a certified school psychologist and the owner-founder of FDMG Academy, a revolutionary school for young black boys and eventually black girls. With that being said, this event was made possible through the funding of SGA, as well as the unity and cooperation of Helping Black Communities Unite Incorporated, which is a non-partisan nonprofit that pushes self-empowerment to manifest a better quality of living in our communities. For more information about our nonprofit, visit hbcu.org or HBCU Inc. on Instagram to see what we have going on with our mentoring with the kids at FAMU VRS, as well as our community garden at FAMU Community Garden over there. We have a plot of land. And I want to get straight into it. We don't have any time, so we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. With the first question. Some of us know what's going on with the DEI bills over here in Florida, the diversity, equity, and inclusion bills, as well as the bills that threaten the HBCUs over in Mississippi. Dr. Umar, can you just touch on for us, what's next for HBCUs? Where do we go from here?
Great question. I think that one of the weaknesses or mistakes that we made as an American African people post Dr. King is during the desegregation movement, we took our eyes off of protecting our independent institutions. And the most important of those institutions that we did not see to it would be financially secured were the HBCUs. When you look at Harvard and Yale, they receive so much money from their alumni that the government frequently orders them to liquidate some of their assets, which they often do in the form of scholarships. As you know right now, Harvard has a policy, Yale might as well, that an undergrad with a 4.0, if they're African American at least, they can get a full ride. That was part of the settlement with the government because those universities had so much capital that the amount of money under their control rivaled the money that the government actually has under its control. So the government ordered them to liquidate. My point is, our celebrities, our middle class and our upper class blacks don't do enough to procure and secure the resources that our HBCUs need. As a result of that, we are in the midst of a backlash against the civil rights movement and everything that our ancestors fought for. And part of that backlash includes the decimation of the HBCU campus. I believe it was, I keep forgetting, the HBCU in North Carolina.
And not A&T.
Not Shaw.
Not Norfolk.
Not A&T. St. Augustine. I believe they just lost their accreditation. And they should have earned it, but because of racism, they were sabotaged out of it. I think Cheney University, the first black institution of higher learning, I believe that they are at risk of losing their accreditation. We know that a white legislature in Mississippi introduced a bill less than 2 weeks ago to shut down permanently Jackson State, Mississippi, Alcorn State, and at least one other. So although Florida's move against diversity, equity, and inclusion might be the most aggressive and the most well-known, it's happening all over the place. Howard University Medical School was just threatened with a lawsuit if they continue to consider race as a factor in admitting its medical students. Think about that. An HBCU founded in the aftermath of the Civil War for blacks can no longer consider race in admitting its students. They're basically using the same laws that were created to protect black people. They're now using those laws to destroy rights for black people. And this is why I'm of the firm conviction that Deion Sanders' transfer from Jackson State to Colorado, that was political. They had to get Deion out of Mississippi because they knew they would be targeting Jackson State for a shutdown. And if Deion was still there, he would have been forced by the community to speak up and speak out for Jackson. So they offered him 30 dirty pieces of silver. He ran to Bunnyland, and here we are.
So quick pivot right right here.
I want to add one more point.
Go ahead.
Before you go to the next question. I do want to say this. Having spoken at so many different HBCUs, I believe that our university presidents, not all of them, not most of them, but a lot of them, I don't think they are visionary enough as it relates to making sure our HBCUs remain competitive with its neighboring PWIs. And I'm of the opinion, and don't worry about the photos. Everybody will get their photo when we're done tonight. I'm of the opinion that every HBCU should have 3 institutions. A grade school for children. What's one of the biggest concerns for the HBCU? Student retention. So if student retention is an issue, if you have your own K-12 grade school, you make those parents sign a contract that those students are obligated to matriculate into the undergraduate program. Problem solved. So every HBCU should have a grade school, not to mention the school to prison pipeline is destroying our communities. And if we had schools on an HBCU campus, we could prevent that from happening. So that's one. Number 2, every HBCU should have a farm. What is one of the main things black communities are suffering from all over the country? A lack of nutritious food, real food, not the kind they make in the lab, but the kind you grow. If we had farms on every HBCU campus, you can now have a community garden. That's revenue for the HBCUs. I'm getting my apples and my oranges. I'm getting my greens and my carrots from the local HBCU. Everybody wins. The community gets nutrition and y'all get the financials. The third thing every HBCU should have, in addition to a farm and in addition to a school, they should have a bank. What if FAMU had a community bank? Now all of Black Tallahassee is keeping their money in FAMU's bank. And if every black person in Leon County has their money in FAMU's bank, FAMU don't have to go looking for no money because they would be able to operate this entire campus off the interest of the deposit. Bank, farm, school, and the last one, an entrepreneurial incubator. HBCU should be growing black businesses, not just training you in the business program, but literally creating Black Wall Street where we are.
Yes, sir.
So I believe we got to get more progressive because we are at war. And if we lose the HBCU, we lose the black middle class because the HBCU is responsible for most of our doctors, most of our surgeons, most of our attorneys, not to mention a sizable number of our social workers, nurses, teachers, and other professions. They want to kill the HBCU to turn us into a permanent underclass.
So with that being said, just looking at our school specifically, we have a K through 12 FAMU DRS. We have a school. We have a community garden. We have a credit union. It's not a bank. We have a credit. But we're still in a position where we're not, I don't want to say we're not full potential, but what can we do as students? What can we do as alumni? What can we do as faculty to make sure we get these things back? We had a FAMU hospital at one point in time. The building is still there.
Wow.
Yeah, and my dad actually, who's here, he was born in that hospital.
Wow.
You feel me? So the hospital closed in 1971.
Wow.
It's not here anymore, but like I said, the building is still there, it's still in good condition. So what can we do as students, faculty, alumni? What can we do?
I think that one of the mistakes we all make as college students, PWI or HBCU, but we focus on HBCU. Students are not engaged enough in the survival and expansion of the university system. Y'all go to class, y'all join the frats, y'all participate sororities, y'all participate in the student organizations, all that's great, but you don't get involved in the expansion of the university. What I mean by that is sitting down with the president, the board of trustees. We would like to see this. We would like to see that. And what can we do as students to help ignite the campaign to raise the funds and bring in the resources that will help us realize this new institute, this new program, this new system. You gotta get involved in the politics of your institution. Don't just come here, enjoy the student life and graduate. Get involved in the politics of the institution.
That was powerful, right? That was powerful. Going into the second question.
Students got kicked out. A lot of them were put on probation. A lot of them were expelled. But nonetheless, all of our civil rights struggles began with the HBCU student. Fast forward to today. We don't see y'all fighting against the school to prison pipeline. We don't see y'all fighting against police brutality. We don't see y'all fighting against gentrification or the sexual trafficking of black women and girls. We have turned into activism for this bourgeoisie mindset that says, I'm in pursuit of the biggest paycheck and the most expensive material life that I can live. And y'all gotta get back to the basics, because we did not get this far, these 400 years, just so you can imitate white people in the shopping mall. The very essence of the HBCU mission is to build you up so you can go back out into the streets and build your people up. You are an activist by nature if you're coming from an HBCU. Because remember, we had to fight for these schools. They didn't think we was worthy of an education. There's a whole struggle, a whole history just to the HBCUs becoming the HBCUs. So don't forget where you come from. Because if you forget where you come from, you'll never end up where you desire to be.
And this right here is a slight pivot, just to include fraternities and sororities. What is their legacy? What is their importance?
I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. And don't get me wrong, where my Zetas at? My Zetas in here? What about my AKAs? Deltas? We got some SG Row?
They Greek, they don't want to say it.
What, we got 3 Deltas?
They don't want to say it today.
2.5 Deltas? Where my Omega Psi Phi at? Kappa Alpha Psi? Phi Beta Sigma? Alpha Phi Alpha? Where my iotas at? Where my grooves at?
They here, they just don't want to speak up today.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Dang. It's like that.
It's like that.
Here's what I will say. My same constructive criticism of the HBCU student extends to HBCU fraternities and sororities. You come from a legacy of struggle. You come from a legacy of service. Most of you have service in your mission. But what service are you offering besides parties, weed sessions, and hazing processes?
Talk about it.
See, what good is joining a black Greek-lettered organization, which I love, I support them, but what good is joining one if it's only going to land you on academic probation the next semester? I mean, how many people have we seen cross over and get crossed out of school? So all I'm saying is I want the Divine Nine to sit down individually and collectively and chart a path back to the greatness that you once used to embody, because we have gotten far away from it. And although we're speaking of the HBCU in a microcosm, I don't want to single y'all out, because all of Black America have lost our way. And we got to find our way back, because America actually thinks she can rid herself of black people. And she's bringing in immigrants right now to replace you in the workforce so you become absolutely irrelevant to this country. I say that to say this: whatever your major is, and mine is psychology and political science, but whatever your major is, you better be thinking about how you're going to roll that over into an entrepreneurial endeavor. You will sooner or later have to work for yourself. If you're a nursing student, you better open up a clinic. You're an engineer, you better open up a firm. You're a lawyer, open up a practice. My educators, your own school. Whatever your major is, you need to start thinking about how I'm going to flip this into a business, because America has no more room for jobs for blacks. In fact, 60% of all college graduates in America right now, and this just came out last week, 60% of all college graduates in America are working in a field that has absolutely nothing to do with the degree that they earned. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. Dr. Umar, are you telling me I'm wasting my time? Not necessarily. It all depends if you can answer this question for me. Are you at FAMU trying to be the best political science major? Are you trying to be the best psychology major? Are you trying to be the best pre-med business social work major, African studies major? Because if you are not here to practice black excellence, you are wasting your time, and you are wasting your parents' student loan money. Because the world you're going to see when you leave Tallahassee is extremely competitive. And the only black people who will make it are those who are the best at what they do. So what I'm saying, if you are one of those Negroes who barely go to class, or barely pass the class, or barely show up for finals, then guess what? You might as well drop out now, because you are majoring in mediocrity in a world that will only tolerate black excellence. So for those of you who are focused, you're not wasting your time. But for those of you who are lethargic and docile and disinterested and just going through the motions, you should just go ahead and drop out now and save us all some time.
Just to go ahead and save us some time, because we know we're running a little late here, we're going to go straight into the audience's questions.
Sure.
So we're going to walk around the audience. Anybody front row who has a question, just put your hand up real quick, and we'll go ahead and start just like that. This might be here. We're going to get this one right here. You want to just put the hand in there?
All right. Can I be good? Yeah. Okay. Greetings. I am a Joaquin, a third-year broadcast journalism scholar hailing from Orlando, Florida. All right. So I really love how earlier you brought up entrepreneurism, or I don't know if I said that right, but y'all get what I'm saying. I have a podcast called What's Up, Joaquin, and I don't know if you guys seen. I was giving out flyers earlier this school semester when I was harassed by admin, and they told me that I could not hand out flyers. My flyers had my social media accounts on them. So when asking them where I couldn't hand out the flyers, it was a little bit of back and forth and they couldn't show me. So because I posted on social media and it got a lot of people supporting me, they obviously tried to resolve it because they didn't want bad rep around FAMU, but their resolving wasn't really trying to resolve it. It was more so them trying to make it seem like they were pleasing me. They were telling me things like, oh yeah, we completely support you, but then when people are writing articles about me and asking questions, they're saying that I'm creating a fuss. My main point that I'm trying to get at is when I talk to a lot of my students around this campus, there's a disconnect between student and faculty. Although, like, students want to be more political. I feel like more students want to be into this and want to know what's going on with our staff. But when we talk to faculty, we're faced with a lot of blame, or like, they're like, oh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Or it's kind of like, hush, hush, be quiet. What do you think us as students can do to better mend relationships between faculty and students, and just better create a community? Like, because although we always say we're a family, it seems like it's only a family when I'm talking to my students. But when I'm trying to go to financial situated, or when I'm trying to go to, like, and I understand that I'm not unaware of that, right? But it's like, what are we really doing with that money? Because I see, like you said, the celebrities, Will Packard's giving us all this money to build an auditorium, but we don't even have enough advisors in broadcast journalism to take care of our students. So what can we do as students better to like mend those relationships between student and faculty? Because I feel like that's the only way we're going to get better as a community is if we come together. We can't be fighting.
Great question, Princess. I got 4 ideas. Number 1, appeal through your elected student government. And if they are not effective, they need to be removed from office. But this issue is an issue that student government should be handling for you. So that's one pathway. Second pathway, probably more powerful, is to appeal to your parents. Your parents should be organizing outside of FAMU to have conversations with school administration on your behalf. Never underestimate parent power. Third, you should start a student organization that is based on healing the divide between faculty and the student body. That would be an excellent organization. Now you can go to the president. I represent the committee for such and such, the student organization for such and such, and we're requesting a meeting with the president, vice president of student affairs, provost, the dean of certain departments, resident life in particular, so forth and so on. That's my third, okay? And then my fourth one, a student petition. Start a student petition. Have all your schoolmates, university mates sign it and deliver that. And don't forget the student press, the campus newspaper. Articulate your arguments through the written word. Those would be the 5 suggestions that I offer.
Hold on. It worked? Okay.
Greetings, my name is Alexandria Solomon. I am a 4th-year economics major and come from Jacksonville, Florida. Basically, dealing with my major in economics, it is a very small program at SBI where I do have to take classes at FSU. And dealing with my major, it is very hard. One, we only have a certain amount of teachers. Wonderful teachers, but again, like how she said, there is a major disconnect between the students and the teacher and faculty. There has been problems amongst just students trying to connect with faculty and like just communication. What I do see is just like trying to keep face value, and I really don't think that is very important. Now, with going over there to FSU, I do take advantage of what they have to offer and stuff like that, but more so to bring it back over here and just let people know you can still be a FAMU student and stuff like that. Take advantage, but bring it back here. And it's not promoted. It's really not promoted by colleges, by the colleges in our system, that there are co-op programs. But I think that within the space that we do have is take advantage of what they got and bring it over to what it's, look.
You got this.
Sorry.
You good.
It's okay, baby.
Yeah, you good. Yeah.
Just to bring it back over here, what do you think of that aspect of the ideas?
As far as the co-op programs, take advantage of them, but don't transfer over to FSU because we need you here.
Yes.
Understand, racism operates in every state where there are HBCUs. I live in Pennsylvania, and I went to a PWI, Millersville University, and I regularly saw how the Pennsylvania state system of higher education saw to it that Millersville University had all the money it could want. Westchester University had all the money it could want. Cheney State University almost gave them nothing at all. You feel me? There's a lot of money that is due to FAMU that is going to FSU. And if there's something that you all need to get involved in, is y'all need to get involved in writing to your state legislatures, your state senator, and your governor as to why y'all don't have more funding at FAMU so we will have more faculty positions. A lot of what you're going through here is not due to poor leadership, it's due to a lack of funding. And y'all need to get busy and active putting pressure on the state government to fund FAMU the same way it funds FSU.
Question right here, Umar.
First things first, I want to say thank you for coming out. Speaking to everyone here means a lot. My name is Amir Mohammed Moore. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a dual graduate candidate over at Florida State University. I majored in urban planning and public administration. And I also taught Philip Singleton as the youngest African American lobbyist in the history of the state of Florida. A little bit more personal. I understand perspective cultivates your life experiences. It is cultivated by your life experiences. How you carry yourself, how you do what you do, always determine kind of how you carry yourself. So the question is here, what life experiences, early or recent, cultivated the way you carry yourself today, how you present yourself to the world?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a great answer, but I will share this. It was in the 3rd grade that I decided I wanted to be a psychologist. And then in the 4th and 5th grade in North Philadelphia, we had Black history class. So I was introduced to a knowledge of self at 9 and 10. In 6th grade, my father took me to my first family reunion, and that's where I learned that I was related to Frederick Douglass. So before I left elementary school, I knew I would be a psychologist, I knew I would be a pan-Africanist, and my blood relationship to Frederick Douglass gave me not only a sense of honor, but a sense of purpose to try to complete his work. And I've never departed from it since then. I'm saying all that to say, and I hope I'm answering the question at least in some fashion, that every one of you have a purpose for being on this earth. You negotiated that purpose in heaven at the feet of the Most High. It doesn't matter what religion you belong to, it's only one God. In heaven, God gave you a purpose for this incarnation. You've been here before, you're going to come back again. Your job while you're here at FAMU is not just to finish, but to find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, give your life to it. This is important for y'all, because some of you are wrestling with what major you're going to pursue. I strongly advise you take your time unless you're certain. I knew since the 3rd grade, so when I got to college, it was a foregone conclusion. I took up political science as a second major because I also had a love for law. I'm still considering going to law school because we don't have a major Black educational attorney in this country. But with that being said, don't choose a career for the money. Don't choose a career because your parents was in it. The career you choose must be in alignment with your divine purpose. Because I don't care how much money you make after graduation. If you are not living your purpose, you will not be happy. As a therapist, I can tell you, I've done therapy with very wealthy people who were miserable because they were not living their purpose. Find and fulfill your destiny.
Powerful, powerful. We're going to hit this side real quick, and then we'll go to the other side briefly. One question, fam.
What comes out of the mouth can never be put back in it. Take your time and choose your words, not only with each other, but especially with what you say to yourself. Positive thinking produces a positive vibration. And if that positive vibration is strong enough, it will lead you to a positive frequency that can only attract more of the same positivity. This is why when you're going through bad times, it tends to be a roller coaster. Because once you start saying negative things to yourself, about your life, you're now vibrating at a low negative frequency. And guess what? That energy you're emitting is attracting more negative experiences. Why am I having such a bad year? Because you are vibrating at a low energy. Negative energy is low, positive energy is high. And I'm going to say this. Be careful who you hang with. Because some of you are being spiritually drained by the people you are around. And with that, be careful who you lay with.
One more question on that side? Question on that side?
Greetings, my name is Christian Loney, a fourth-year business administration student from Tampa, Florida. My question is, I had a recent interaction with a peer of mine. They found out that my mother is African American, Pan-African to be correct, and my father is Mexican American. They told me that I was only able to celebrate Black History Month half of the month. Even though I feel like we should be celebrated all year for all the contributions that we make to society every day, I would definitely like to see what is the correct response, because I have run into that issue multiple times.
Yes, sir. First, I want to say that even in Mexico, there were Africans who were there before Columbus. So there are Mexican Africans, right? And there was slavery in Mexico too, right? So we were there. Now, there's no such thing as being half black, because the African gene is the dominant gene. Our DNA rules. So it's never half and half, because our side is too strong. It's like chocolate milk and vanilla milk. It ain't half vanilla, it's chocolate. Now, psychologically though, our mixed race Africans have to make up their mind on which side of the fence do they stand. Now, because your father is Mexican American, it's not as tough for you because you're not Caucasian, okay? Or your father isn't Caucasian. But the point that I'm making, as a Pan-Africanist, I don't do half black, I don't do multicultural, I don't do biracial. You either black or I don't deal with you. You see? Now, don't let anybody tell you you're not African. You don't have to get nobody permission to be black. It's in your blood. You just have to claim it and affirm it. And identifying as African doesn't mean you reject your Mexican ancestry. Because everybody in here got a little bit of something else in them. But that little bit of something else in you does not disqualify the fact that you are overwhelmingly African. And that's where you should stand. Brother Chris, try to go brother, sister, brother. Keep the gender balance.
Brother, sister, I got you.
Brother, sister, brother, sister, brother.
Talking about? Okay. My name is Jaden Howard from St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm a senior information systems scholar. And you listed 5 things that you said was the biggest issues with, black progression in America. And one of them was economics. I'd like to focus on that. I would like to hear your thoughts on Dr. Claude Anderson's I'm thinking of a word. It's called powernomics. I was thinking of something else. And also, given the structural inequalities and historical barriers with a capitalist society, what are the biggest challenges the African American community faces in achieving economic self-sufficiency?
Yes, sir. First of all, I have tremendous respect for Dr. Claude Anderson. He and I shared the stage several times. And I think that all of you need to read at least 2 of his books, Black Skin, White Mass, which is, Black Labor, White Wealth. Black Skin, White Mass is Frantz Fanon's book that if you are a bunny hopper, you should read that one. But Black Labor, White Wealth, Claude Anderson, and of course, Powernomics. The economic imperative is critical because you can't save the race without a solid economic foundation, okay? One of the reasons why other groups don't suffer the internal fighting and the internal selling out that we suffer is because they stay loyal because they can get help within their group. If you need help 9 times out of 10, you gotta go outside the black community. That does not breed loyalty or pride. So we gotta get the economics right. The problem with black economics is not economics. It's black psychology. Black people don't have a loyalty to themselves financially. The black dollar does not discriminate against other people, and that's our problem. Our money should be partial to us, and it's not. The black dollar circulates once in our community, and it leaves. The Jewish dollar, about 25 times. Anglo-Saxon dollar, about 18 times. Mexican dollar, about 15 times. Asian dollar, about 14 times. Black dollar 1 time. How are we going to employ each other? How are we going to build hospitals, banks, supermarkets, hotels, manufacturing and distribution if we can't keep the money in the community? Right. The first step, we got to change our priorities. Black people, not only do we not produce anything, we are conspicuous consumers. Conspicuous consumers. We spend too much money on things that we do not need. $2 billion on Air Jordans every year. $4 billion on liquor every year. $30 billion on hair, weave, perm, and beauty every year. It's too much. It's too much. So the point that I'm making, if black people do not reorganize our financial priorities, if we keep up this conspicuous consumption, we will be exterminated. Marcus Garvey said it best. Any people who depends upon another for their existence will sooner or later die. When you get sick, who hospital you go to? When you get hungry, who supermarket you go to? When you gotta stay at a hotel, who hotel you staying in? We are completely dependent on non-black people for our essentials, and that is very dangerous because a consumer is the financial equivalent of a slave. And we have to transform ourselves before we get transformed out of here.
Greetings, I am a first-year criminal justice major with a minor in sociology. We are strictly hailing from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
All right.
So there tends to be a lot of critique concerning black people and becoming law enforcement. I was just wondering, as someone that is planning to go into law enforcement, how do I build trust between the law and black people?
I want you to go into law enforcement, Princess, so you can get the experience, but it is my hope that you graduate to becoming an attorney. Okay? What is my opinion on blacks in the military or the white power structure? I'm not against it. If you're going in, to look out for us. Some black people would say we should never be police. We should never be CIA. We should never be Homeland Security or FBI. Yes, we should. Because if we don't have nobody on the inside, how do we know what the hell they planning against us? So I need black police, I need black FBI, I need black CIA, but I need them to bring back to the community the information we need to protect ourselves against the government's next campaign. But if you're gonna go in there and coon out, then we don't need you. But if you're gonna be loyal, we need you.
Just a little mic. Yeah.
I'll repeat you. Don't worry about it, bro.
I can check on this. All right, so peace and love. My name is Rasan. I'm also from Philadelphia.
What part?
Delaware County, to be specific, but Delaware County.
Oh, Delaware County. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm also part of the NSBE chapter here, and I know a couple months ago you spoke on some mistakes that happened.
The engineering?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our Black community.
Yeah, they gave a white boy the scholarship.
Yeah, so I was using that for context.
Insane.
I was using that for context so you know the organization I'm talking about. So this past weekend we did have our 50th anniversary in Atlanta, Georgia. However, we were supposed to have it in Orlando, Florida. However, it was changed because of the stuff going on with HB 999 with the DEI legislation.
DeSantis, the devil. Go ahead.
What is your advice and thoughts of like what we could do from a chapter level that could translate over to the regional and national level to really push back on it? Because I really think we could have made a stand in Orlando, Florida, and continue to have our conference there. Registration prices definitely went up this year compared to last year, and by $100 this year, and it did stop some of our members from attending because of that cost. So what do you think we should do as organization leaders, specifically for NSBE, to like, in case next year it happens again, like what could we do?
First of all, if NSBE gives another white person a black scholarship, they need to change their name from black. Take it out. These black special interest organizations were founded to help you all, to help our children, our community. When a black organization takes from us and gives to a white person just so they can be accepted by white people, it's an embarrassment and a shame. Now, for the conference, if it was up to me, I don't care if it's NEBSI, I don't care if it's NABSI, I don't care if it's the Greek annual conventions, the Deltas and the Qs and the A, I don't care if it's the NAACP, the Urban League, the black psychologist, black psychiatrist, social work, nurse, any black organization who is having an annual conference, in order to support the H.B.C.U., your conference will not be in a white hotel. It will be in a black college or a black university, and let that money come to the H.B.C.U. It is amazing how much money black organizations spend at the Hyatt, at the Marriott, at the Sheraton. $20 and $30 million for 3 nights. Imagine what FAMU could do with that $20 and $30 million. Imagine what South Carolina State can do or Lincoln can do with that money. It makes no sense. And my fraternities and sororities, tell your bacillus this. Dr.Umar said you are a living hypocrite giving that kind of money to white hotels when we got struggling HBCUs. They could have that conference right here. But you know why they want to be at the white hotel? Because black people love to imitate white folks. We want to swim in their pools. We want to eat in their restaurants. We want to sleep in their hotels. We want to date their women. Black people are in love with Caucasians. And because of that, we like to spend our money where white folks do.
So, Greg, you paraphrased Marcus Garvey quote earlier, any leadership that teaches depend upon other races.
Sooner or later dies. Well said, my brother. Well said. Who my next person?
She's right here.
Before you speak, Princess, hold 1 second because I don't want to forget this. Most of you come from Florida. On May the 1st, in Bunnell, Florida, Bunnell, 1 hour from Jacksonville, I'm going to be hosting a peaceful protest out of the Kim C. Hammond, in front of the Kim C. Hammond Criminal Justice Center, for a black boy by the name of Brenda Depa, who was adopted by 2 white people as an infant. Brenda Depa attacked a white teacher's aide inside of the Palm Coast High School, February the 21st, 2023. He's been locked up since then. He was 17 when it happened. The judge decided to certify him as an adult, His lawyer convinced him to plead guilty, and Brenda Depa could go to jail for 30 years. Brenda Depa is diagnosed with autism, post-traumatic stress disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, anxiety disorder, and ADHD. Here's my point. I don't condone him attacking the teacher's aide, even though she was white. Stay with me. Stay with me. No woman should ever be attacked. I don't care what color she is. But the reason we're going down there at 9 a.m. on May the 1st is because Brenda Depa did not receive the special ed and mental health supports he was entitled to by law. He had no business being in that school. He should have been in the school for children with severe disabilities. You know why he wasn't? Because that white school didn't want to pay for him to get the help that he needed. To make matters worse, you know how the attack started? The teacher took his Nintendo Switch out of his hand. Guess who asked for the Nintendo Switch to be brought into the school to be used as a reward? The teacher. Guess what his IEP says? Never take the Nintendo Switch out of his hand because it will trigger his post-traumatic stress disorder. How can he be going to jail for 30 years when everybody violated the boy's rights and the provisions of the IEP? Let me say this and I'm going to be quiet on it. Some of y'all remember we had a sister named A.J. Owens in Florida. She was shot through the stomach and murdered by an old crusty snow bunny. Y'all remember the case? The white lady was antagonizing her son. She took either his iPad or his skates. So Sister A.J. Owens goes to the white lady's house to get her son's iPad or skates, and the white lady, behind a locked metal door, pulled out a gun and shot her dead in front of her children. Listen, guess how many years the white lady can get for murder with a weapon? 30. Guess how many years Brenda Depa could get for hitting a teacher? No murder, no gun, no weapon, 30 years. How can he get the same amount of time as a white person who committed murder? So for those of you who are interested, if you care about our children, if you care about the school to prison pipeline, I'm inviting you to join me outside of the Kim C. Hammond Criminal Justice Center, Bunnell, Florida, May the 1st. The protest will be from 9 until 12, and then we're going to go into the courtroom at 1 and hear what the judge has decided to sentence Brenda to. If we don't stand for anything, if we don't stand for nothing, we will fall for anything.
Can you talk about how elitism on HBCU campuses is actually an injustice to the betterment of our communities and institutions, and also the history of individuals separating themselves from their community?
Absolutely. First of all, we love the HBCU, right? And we love our black Greek-lettered organizations, right? But what do we know about all of the Divine Nine and about at least half of our HBCUs? They were brown paper bag organizations for a very long time. Oh yeah. You cannot be a Kappa, you cannot be a Q, you cannot be an Alpha, you cannot be a Sigma, you cannot be a Delta, a Zeta, an SG Rho, or an AKA if your skin was any darker than a brown paper bag. All of the Divine Nine practiced light skin supremacy in the beginning. And most of our HBCUs practiced light skin supremacy in the beginning. My point is, there's a history to elitism on the HBCU campus that we need to learn about. And to your point, because I agree with you, we need to confront it. The only advantage any African should have over another African is service to the race. If you're going to be treated better, it's because you do more for the people. It won't be because you're lighter. It won't be because you're darker. It won't be because you're an American African or an African immigrant. I am a pan-Africanist. I am a Garveyite. We believe that all African people are one people, no matter how light you are, no matter how dark you are, no matter how small your lips or how broad, no matter how straight your hair or how nappy, one race. And we have to stop practicing colorism, light skin, dark skin supremacy, financial supremacy, organizational supremacy, black Greek lettered chauvinism. We had a situation up at the H.B.C.U's in Baltimore a few weeks ago. 2 of the fraternities got into a fight on one of the campuses. So I've been asked to come and try to mediate some of that. How you gonna be turning a fraternity with the legacy of the H.B.C.U., how you gonna turn that into a damn gang? That's because slavery taught us to self-destruct. And the only thing black people hate more than racism is each other. I recommend that you crush elitism wherever you see it. I don't like bougie Negroes, and they come in every color. Because Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, as black as tar and a stone cold. So complexion don't determine who the coons are. You got chocolate coons, lemonade coons, caramel coons, butter almond coons, mixed race coons. A coon is a coon. Crush the coon on campus.
22 minutes before they start trying to pick this out, so we're going to speak around this real quick.
Okay.
You good with that?
Yes, sir, I'm good. And once we're done, we got to do the photos.
Good afternoon, my name is Sean. I see tattoos. I am from Orlando, Florida. I'm the first my question is related to what you said earlier. You said that I had to work for myself. I was in a position on this at some point related to my major after I make myself more like present in my field, or maybe earlier on if I have to. What would be a good way to do that from now as a first-year student to either after grad or after graduate school?
Great point. Number one, it might be in your best interest to take a business finance class. Number two, I strongly recommend that all of you get acquainted with the Small Business Administration, SBA.gov. Write it down, put it in your phone. SBA.gov, the United States Small Business Administration. You can get low interest loans for your business. You can get grants that you don't have to pay back for your business. You can get mentorship by someone who is operating the very business you're going to open up. You can look at other people's business plans who did what you're going to do so you don't have to recreate the wheel. I don't push government at all because government has been the enemy of African people, but SBA.gov is definitely a resource I want you to get familiar with and take advantage of.
Hey, I am Ifatunde, a fourth-year collegian in South Carolina, Georgia. And I currently serve as the president of the real estate club here on campus. Earlier you mentioned talking about like gentrification and how black people should go be against gentrification and be fighting that. I personally want to be a developer and I want to go into urban planning. I want to create communities for the black community, not on segregation, but like recreating Black Wall Street, being able to provide for housing, business, places for economic growth within the black community. But as you talked about before, there's no funding. And so we wanted to go into that. What would you recommend for these to be able to get money to buy mass amounts of land and to be able to build the infrastructure needed to community?
First, I commend your vision. I love that. It's selfless. Number one, we do have black banks. Get to know them. Number two, although we have black banks, most mega corporations are funded by private equity. You know what that means? White people go to rich white people to get the money. They don't deal in banks like we do. We should be able to go to Oprah and get you your money. We should be able to go to Tyler Perry and get your money. We should be able to go to LeBron, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Tiger Woods, Serena, and get you your money. But unfortunately, black billionaires do not invest in their people like white billionaires do. So you're going to have to settle for the black bank. I want you to consider looking at these entire cities that are for sale across this country. There's about 20 entire cities for sale. I think one of them is in Florida, the whole city. Post office, fire office, hospital, police precinct. When we talk about Black Wall Street, if we serious, we need to buy one of them towns and start building Black Wall Street, one abandoned city at a time. So take a look at that, Queen. And I'm glad she mentioned real estate, because I want all of you to think about getting your realtor's license on top of whatever your major is. Remember, you're going to need 2 to 3 streams of income. If you get your real estate license, that's another stream of income. And by the way, most millionaires in America are what? Realtors. Get your real estate license. You don't need a college degree. You just got to pass that test. Some of y'all can get it done even while you're here working on your major.
Sorry, not trying to interrupt, but speaking of that, I have my real estate license, and as president of the real estate club, we offer workshops and study sessions.
Y'all need to join that club.
Yes, join the real estate club. We really are doing it for real.
When do y'all meet and how do they find you?
You can find us at club_FAMU on Instagram, and we applicants are closed for this spring semester. This semester is closing up, but we have an event coming up April 12th, and we have different developers, investors coming to speak about their journey. So make sure y'all come. It's open to everyone.
That's a club y'all need to join. Yes, 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 yes. Black excellence. Okay. Before you take your question, Queen, I'm sorry. Let me give you my cell number in case you need to reach me. Okay? And if you want me to post the picture up we take tonight, text it to me. 215-989-9858. I'm going to repeat it once more, and I do hope some of you will join me on May 1st for that protest to save our brother. 215-989-9858. Go right ahead.
Good evening, Dr.Umar. My name is Vivian Kitchen. I am a graphic design scholar here from the Hill, Jacksonville, Florida.
Stop right there. I don't know if you're taking work, but I'm always in need of flyers for my different events. So if you text me and say you're able to do them, I can pay you to do some flyers.
The necessary romantic and platonic friendships with black men at this institution. And studies as well as leading testimonies that say that black women receive more caressing and kind love from from white men. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were on how to create loyalty to black men when we continue to disrespect and neglect the black woman, and why should I?
That was an exceptionally well articulated argument to justify bunny hopping. But it's a good question, and I want to answer it. Great question. First of all, many of our young brothers and older are under a hypnosis by the hip hop community that has brainwashed them into sexually objectifying the black woman.
Talk about it.
To the point where you're not seen as nothing but breasts and ass. That is something we black men must work on. Because our sexual objectification of our sisters energizes the white man's sexual exploitation of our sisters. With that being said, the worst thing you could do is let a Caucasian plant his ancestors in your womb. Although black men have problems, and I apologize to all of you sisters for the hell we have put you through. Okay? But although we got problems, at the end of the day, when we love you, we love you. And no white man could ever love you the way a black man can. And if you decide to journey down that white brick road, you better be prepared, as so many other black women had to learn the hard way. When y'all get into an argument and he calls you a black bee, or y'all get into an argument and he calls you the N-word, remember, the white person you're dating or mating is just as racist as any other white person. And it's only a matter of time before they remind you who they really are. If you can't find a good black man on this campus, go to another one. And if you can't find a good black man in Florida, get one from Texas. And if you can't find a good black man in America, get him from Jamaica. And if you can't find one in Let me say this to end that point. I know all of you are intelligent enough to have seen how all the new commercials and new sitcoms and movies are featuring nothing but interracial couples. America is not in love with black people, so why are these interracial couples? You know why? They're trying to brainwash our children into believing that black love is a waste of your time. We cannot fall for that. We have to show our little boys and girls that black love still matters. And black men, I'm gonna tell you right now, I better never, ever catch your ass with a snow bunny. Black power. Snow bunnies never. Black queens forever. Black queens forever. All right. Good evening, Queen.
My name is Jasmine Dyer, I'm a fourth-year broadcast journalism major hailing from Lakeland, Florida. By the way, of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. And as a broadcast journalism major, I believe my purpose is to amplify our voices. I feel like my purpose is to bring peace to black people by amplifying our voices. And that being said, I believe we're still in a stage where a lot of white people are in these higher positions. And a lot of white people are in the higher positions, even though we want to give black people the chances that we feel they deserve in this country. So, and on top of that, even in some cases, when we leave this HBCU, when we leave this family dynamic, there are black people in these higher positions that look like us, but they don't think like us. They think like white people, they think like our oppressors. So, what can we do to ensure that we get into these higher positions, not only to make more money in America and to raise the income of black people in America, but also to ensure that we give it to deserving black people?
Great question. And yes, there's nothing but coons waiting for you when you leave here, okay? But here's what I want to say. It ain't about getting into the positions. It's about building your own institutions. See? White people have their own institutions. Asians have their own institutions. Arabs have their own institutions. Black people depend on everybody else's. You have to be the igniting force that wakes our people up and motivates them to build our own. When you go to the hospital, you got to go to theirs. We need our own hospital, our own school, our own bank. Don't content yourself with forcing your way into somebody else's reality. Build your own. Will it be hard? Yes. Look at me. Working on the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. It took us 5 years to raise the money. It took us 5 years to renovate the school. We have a paint day in 2 weeks, and we'll be pretty much done. It took us 10. Some people say, Dr.Umar, why you didn't just open up a charter school? You could have got the money from the government. Yes, I could, but at what cost? They control my curriculum. They tell me what to do. They can defund me anytime they want. Why do I want that? One thing slavery did to all of us, and you have to work to undo it. Slavery made us comfortable, and we're the only people who are. Slavery made us comfortable having no control over our community. No other people are as comfortable as the American Negro being controlled and dictated to by outsiders. If Mexican children was going through the school to prison pipeline the way our children was, there would have been a protest and a shutdown. If police was killing some of these other communities the way they kill us, there would have been a protest and a shutdown. Black people are comfortable being ruled by white people, and we have to change the dynamic. Okay, ready for it?
We're going to do all the black women on the left, and we'll do all the black women on the right.
That was